People like to say that being alone is unhealthy. They say it quietly with concern in their voice, as if solitude is something you need to recover from. And for a long time I believed them. I believed that if I was alone too often, something must be wrong with me. My personality, my past, my ability to connect. But the older I get, the more I realize how shallow that judgment really is. Because most people aren't afraid of being alone. They're afraid of meeting themselves. We live in a culture that celebrates noise. Notifications, conversations, group chats, opinions, constant reactions. Silence feels suspicious now. When nothing is happening, people panic. They reach for their phones, turn on background sound, or surround themselves with anyone who will fill the space. Not because they enjoy the company, but because they're terrified of the quiet. I was like that once. I remember a period in my life when I stayed busy on purpose. Not productive busy, social busy. Always available, always out, always responding. I told myself I was living, but the truth is I was avoiding something. Every time I was alone, my thoughts caught up with me, and I didn't like what they had to say. Solitude doesn't invent problems. It reveals them. One night, after canceling plans for the first time in weeks, I sat alone in my room with no music playing, no scrolling, no distractions, just silence. And within minutes, discomfort showed up. Regrets. Unanswered questions. Doubts I'd been pushing away. That was the moment I understood why people hate being alone, because solitude doesn't lie to you. But here's what no one tells you. That discomfort is not your enemy. It's your teacher. When you sit with yourself long enough, you start noticing patterns. Why certain relationships drain you. Why you chase validation from people who barely see you. Why you keep repeating the same mistakes. Solitude doesn't sugarcoat things. It holds up a mirror and walks away. Most people never look. I had a friend who couldn't stand being alone for more than a few hours. Every breakup was immediately replaced. Every free evening needed plans. He said solitude made him feel empty. But what he really meant was that solitude reminded him he didn't know who he was without someone else defining him. That's the danger of constant company. You outsource your identity. When you're always around others, your personality becomes reactive. You adapt, agree, laugh at jokes you don't find funny, tolerate things you shouldn't. Slowly, without noticing, you lose your internal compass. You stop asking what you think. Solitude takes that away and forces you to build something internal instead. And that's where strength begins. Real strength isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It's quiet confidence, the ability to sit alone with your thoughts and not run, the ability to make decisions without pulling everyone around you, the ability to walk away from environments that don't align with you, even if it means temporary loneliness. Here's a life hack most people learn too late. If you can be alone without feeling worthless, you become impossible to control. Think about it. People stay in bad relationships, toxic friendships, unfulfilling jobs, not because they don't see the damage, but because they're afraid of the silence that comes after leaving. Solitude becomes the price of self-respect, and many people decide it's too expensive, but those who pay it change. I once spent months intentionally alone. No dramatic reason, just a quiet decision to step back. Fewer conversations, more walks, long mornings without noise. First it felt empty, then it felt boring, and then something unexpected happened. I started thinking clearly. Ideas surfaced that had been buried for years. I realized which goals were actually mine and which were inherited from other people's expectations. I noticed how much energy I'd been spending trying to be understood, instead of understanding myself. Solitude reorganizes your priorities. You stop chasing attention and start chasing alignment. You don't need to explain yourself as much. You don't argue to be right. You listen more. Not because you're passive, but because you're grounded. Another story comes to mind. A woman I knew left a loud social circle that revolved around gossip and competition. At first, people said she'd disappeared. In reality, she had finally appeared to herself. A year later, she had changed careers, rebuilt her boundaries, and stopped apologizing for existing. Solitude didn't weaken her. It refined her. That's the hidden power people don't talk about. Solitude strips away performance. There's no audience, no applause, no instant validation, just effort, honesty, and patience. And in that environment, your character grows roots. Of course, solitude isn't romantic. It's not always peaceful. Some days it feels heavy. Some nights it questions you harder than any critic ever could. But that's the price of becoming solid instead of surface level. Here's another quiet truth. People who fear solitude often fear responsibility. When you're alone, there's no one to blame. No distractions to hide behind. Your choices are yours. Your growth is yours. Your healing is yours. And that level of ownership is uncomfortable but transformative. Once you get used to being alone, something interesting happens. You stop needing people to complete you. You start choosing them instead. Relationships become additions, not lifelines. Conversations become deeper. Boundaries become natural. And paradoxically, you connect better. Because when you're not desperate for connection, you can offer presence. When you're not afraid of losing people, you can be honest. When you don't fear being alone, you stop accepting disrespect just to avoid it. That's real strength. So no, being alone doesn't make you weaker. Avoiding solitude does. The people who grow the most are not the loudest in the room. They're the ones who can walk into silence and come back with clarity. They understand that solitude isn't isolation. It's preparation. And when they re-enter the world, they do so differently. Calmer, sharper, more selective. Because they've met themselves and didn't look away.